She's not turned off. She's unplugged. When a woman disconnects emotionally, her body follows. Sex in a relationship is significant, so most men think their marriage is falling apart when the sex stops. So I'm going to tell you something to bring back intimacy and change your perspective moving forward. Your marriage isn't sexless. It's lacking connection. And if you don't understand the difference, you'll keep trying to fix the wrong problem, and you'll keep getting the same painful result. So how do we stop confusing the two and focus on what's important? Let me explain. I don't blame you. Sex is obviously physical, but we tend to limit it to that. Sex, however, is way more mental and emotional. That's why we have to focus on connection first. If we focus on just sex and not the connection, we'll miss both. If we focus on connection first, however, sex will show up naturally on its own. My name is Jordan Joaquim, and I'm a licensed mental health therapist and marriage counselor who's been working in this field for over 10 years. When I'm not doing therapy, I'm writing. My ebook, How to Love Her Like Christ Loved the Church, is the first link in the description. That's a book that guides men on how to lead with love. Check that out when you're ready for change. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's do some work. What men feel versus what women experience. When a man feels intimacy drop, he feels rejected. He feels unwanted. He feels like he's failing as a husband. But when a woman pulls back sexually, she's not rejecting her husband. She's retreating from emotional exhaustion. Men interpret the lack of sex as something's wrong with me. Women experience the lack of connection as something's wrong with us. You're feeling the symptom. She's drowning in the cause. Why her body shuts down. A woman's body is wired to respond to emotional safety. Not perfection, not performance, not pressure, safety. When she feels unseen, unheard, or unled, her nervous system goes into protection mode. And when her heart closes, her body follows. She's not cold, she's not broken, she's not in a state of low libido, she's disconnected. And I can tell you, disconnection always shows up in the bedroom long before it shows up in a marriage counseling office. The masculine blind spot. Here's where most men get stuck. Men use physical intimacy to create emotional closeness. Women need emotional closeness to create physical intimacy. So when you pursue her physically, while she's starving emotionally, she doesn't feel desired. She feels pressured. And pressure kills connection. You're trying to reconnect through sex. She's trying to reconnect through safety. You're speaking two different languages, but you're both begging for the same thing: closeness. What disconnection looks like in a wife. A disconnected wife doesn't always yell. She doesn't always cry. She doesn't always complain. Most of the time, she just shuts down. She becomes quieter, more distant, more busy, right? More tired, more numb. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's been carrying the emotional weight of the marriage alone. And when a woman carries emotional weight alone, she eventually stops reaching for intimacy. Because intimacy feels like another responsibility, not a refuge, as it should be. The moment everything changes. If your marriage feels sexless, here's the truth. You don't need to chase her body. You need to rebuild her trust. Ask yourself, when was the last time she felt safe enough to be soft? When was the last time she felt pursued without pressure? When was the last time she felt emotionally led instead of emotionally abandoned? When was the last time she felt like your partner, not your provider of intimacy? Because a woman who feels emotionally connected naturally becomes physically responsive. Not instantly, not magically, but consistently. How a man rebuilds connection. All right, This is where men get their power back, but not through control, through leadership. First, presence over performance. Stop trying to impress her. Start trying to be with her. Second, curiosity over defensiveness. Ask her what she's been carrying, and then don't argue with her answer. Third, consistency over intensity. One big romantic gesture won't fix what daily disconnection created. Show up in small ways, every day, consistently. Fourth, emotional courage over emotional silence. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be open. Fifth, partnership over pressure. Lead her toward connection, not compliance. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe, her body stops being a fortress and becomes a haven again. The truth men need to hear. Your wife isn't withholding. She's wounded. Your marriage isn't sexless. It's silent. And silence is where intimacy goes to die. But here's the good news. Disconnection is reversible. Distance is repairable. And a woman who feels emotionally seen will always move toward her husband again. So stop saying your marriage is sexless. Start saying your marriage is disconnected. That's where the answer is. Because once you rebuild connection, intimacy stops feeling like a job and starts feeling like we're back home again. If you appreciate this message or my way of delivering it, do me a favor and give this video a like. Subscribe to keep getting a positive message to save your marriage. If you want to help yourself even more, make sure to check out my ebook, How to Love Her Like Christ Loved the Church. That marriage-saving resource is the first link in the description. If you feel like this video can help someone else, don't be greedy. Sharing is caring. Share this video with them and let them learn something new too. I look forward to catching up with you in the next video coming up now. But until then, God bless you and your family.